ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 19, verse 40. तद्यथा वृक्ष उन्मूलः शुष्यत्युद्वर्तते चिरात् एवं नष्टानृतः सद्य आत्मा शुष्येन्न संशयः. When a tree is uprooted, it immediately falls down and begins to dry up. Similarly, if one doesn't take care of the body which is supposed to be untruth, in other words, if the untruth is uprooted, the body undoubtedly becomes dry. Purport. In this regard, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Prapanchikataya buddhya harisambandhi vastunaha mumukshubhihi parityago vairagyam falgu kathyate. So this is falgu vairagya, incomplete vairagya. One who rejects things without knowledge of their relationship to Krishna with prapanchikataya buddhya, with material buddhi. Such a person is incomplete in his renunciation. When the body is engaged in the service of the Lord, one should not consider the body material. Of course, to the extent that one's body is engaged in the service of the Lord, to that extent we can think of body to not be material, because the body starts becoming spiritualized. And for great souls, body is fully spiritual. So while it might function externally like material, it's not material. And again, I don't know, somehow this this simple thought process about exalted Vaishnava somehow doesn't seem to be not being understood even by very, very senior people in Krishna consciousness, and I'm not able to understand why. Still, a body of great souls are being considered material. Anyway, sometimes I think that some things can be told few times, many times, but can't be said forever. In the sense, somewhere, somehow, uh, devotees have to realize Shastra, the purport of Shastra. There is no point in being sentimental. But yeah, sometimes the spiritual body of the spiritual master is misunderstood. Like Krishna, like Prabhupada, like what I was wanting to say. Spiritual body, the spiritual master is misunderstood. But Rupa Goswami instructs, Prapanchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastunaha. The body fully engaged in Krishna's service should not be neglected as material. One who does neglect it is false in his renunciation. Now, this also means that it's not that we should like just ignore the body. No. If the body is not properly maintained, it falls down and dries up like an uprooted tree, from which flowers and fruit can no longer be obtained. The Vedas therefore enjoin If somebody wants to read Vedas, you can read here. The purport is that activities performed with the help of the body for the satisfaction of the absolute truth, Om Tat Sat, are never temporary, although performed by the temporary body. Indeed, such activities are everlasting. Therefore, the body should be properly cared for. Because the body is temporary, not permanent, one cannot expose the body to being devoured by a tiger or killed by an enemy. All precautions should be taken to protect the body. But yeah, like I said, it's not that we become overly obsessed with the body, but at the same time, not overly negligent. Both are extremes. Of course, being overly negligent can be done by very exalted souls who really don't care about their physical existence. But for sadhakas, it is very, very important that we don't get either too attached nor too detached. Too detached is gnana, too attached is karma. Karmi gnanis. Bhakta means that he is neither too attached nor too detached. He will use his body suitably in Krishna's service for the satisfaction of Krishna. परागृक्तम् अपूर्णं वा अक्षरं यत्तद् ओमिति यत्किञ्चिद् ओमिति ब्रूयात् तेन ऋच्येत वै पुमान् भिक्षवे सर्वमों कुर्वन्नालं कामेन चात्मने. The utterance of the word Om signifies separation from one's monetary assets. Huh? If we say the word Om, it signifies separation from one's monetary assets. In other words, by uttering this word, one becomes free from attachment to money because his money is taken away from him. To be without money is not very satisfactory. For in that position, one cannot fulfill one's desires. In other words, by using the word Om, one becomes poverty stricken. Especially when one gives charity to a poor man or beggar, one remains unfulfilled in self realization and in sense gratification. A complex purport, complex verse. Utterance of the word Om signifies separation from monetary assets. In other words, by uttering this word, one becomes free from attachment to money. Because his money is taken away from him. To be without money is not very satisfactory, for in that position one cannot fulfill one's desires. In other words, by using the word Om, one becomes poverty stricken. Especially when one gives charity to a poor man or beggar, one remains unfulfilled in self realization and in sense gratification. Purport. Maharaja Bali wanted to give everything to Vamana Dev, who had appeared as a beggar, but Shukracharya, being Maharaja Bali's familial spiritual master in the line of seminal succession, could not appreciate Maharaja Bali's promise. Shukracharya gave Vedic evidence that one should not give everything to a poor man. Rather, when a poor man comes for charity, one should untruthfully say, "Whatever I have given you. I have no more." It is not that one should give everything to him. Actually, the word Om is meant for Om Tat Sat, the absolute truth. Omkara is meant for freedom from all attachment to money. Because money should be spent for the purpose of the Supreme. The tendency of the modern civilization is to give money in charity to the poor. Such charity has no spiritual value because we actually see that although there are so many hospitals and other foundations and institutions for the poor, according to the three modes of material nature, a class of poor men is always destined to continue. So Prabhupada is saying there's no point. There's no spiritual value in giving a donation to some unqualified person who might be poor. The whole point is that one should give charity to a qualified person. Hmm? Right place, right time, right person. Prabhupada writes, right person means one who is Krishna conscious. Otherwise, one's attempt in giving charity to eradicate poverty is not possible because poverty is a result of papa. And there are always people who are doing papa. So you can't eliminate poverty. Even though there are so many charitable institutions, poverty has not been driven from human society. Therefore, it is recommended here, Bhikshave Sarvam Om Kurvan Nalam Kamena Chatmane. One should not give everything to the beggars among the poor. The best solution is that of the Krishna consciousness movement. This movement is always kind to the poor, not only because it feeds them, but also because it gives them enlightenment by teaching them how to become Krishna conscious. So, the idea is not just food for life without any Krishna consciousness. The idea is prasadam with Krishna consciousness. Actually, this word food for life itself is creating a lot of confusion. Mm, no, this we better call it prasadam distribution. And because when we call it prasadam distribution, we retain the consciousness that this is actually prasadam. So, which means Krishna consciousness remains in the center of that activity. Whereas when we think of food for life, food becomes the center of that activity, not Krishna prasada. So it's better that we say, at least for making sure that people don't get confused about food distribution. It's actually prasadam distribution. It can be done for anybody. Prasadam can be given to anybody, poor, rich, whatever, because everybody is spiritually starved, and the materially poor are materially also starved. So obviously, looks like they are more worthy beneficiaries. But this prasadam given without giving a consciousness of the prasadam or of Krishna is not as recommended. Right, so it's okay if people come to the temple and take prasadam because then they know that they're coming to the temple. But if you distribute prasadam outside without telling them about Krishna prasadam, then it will be treated as food. Mercy will not flow if suppose say somebody doesn't. It's like chanting Hare Krishna offensively, right? Without the my right attitude. What is the use? You can keep chanting for lifetimes, but you're not going to get Krishna. Prasadam also has its own effect, but provided if it is taken respectfully, honored respectfully, knowing that this is prasadam of Krishna. So at least we should build some prasadam consciousness while distributing, not simply just come take food. Uh, so this is important. Mm. We are therefore opening hundreds and thousands of centers for those who are poor, but both in money and in knowledge, to enlighten them in Krishna consciousness and reform their character by teaching them how to avoid illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, gambling, which are the most sinful activities and which cause people to suffer life after life. So we should help those, you know, uh, yeah, we should, attract people who can come daily for prasadam. Same people should come again and again and again because then they will get benefited because they're going to honor Krishna prasadam every day. They will come in association of devotees every day. They will say Hare Krishna every day, right? And slowly their consciousness will improve, will change. They will stop sinful activities. The best way to use money is to open such a center. If everybody is hearing, uh, best way you to use money is to open such a center. Hmm. So, by the mercy of, Guru and Gauranga, so many, especially in Bangalore, or Anukul Prabhu encourages opening new and new centers. So many centers are opening. Um, so, what should devotees associated with that center do? They should give their money for that center. Simple. It's not like some convoluted logic, right? Prabhupada is saying best way to use money is to open such a center where all may come, live, and reform their character. So this is a hospital. Mm, it's a character hospital. We can call it character hospital. It's not, yeah, reforming one's character. Uh, which is why it hurts a lot when the place where character has to be reformed sees bad character being displayed. right? Where people lie, where people politicize, where people speak one thing in front, one thing behind. This is not a sign of the character that one has to develop by being Krishna conscious. Mm. Um, See, simple. Krishna consciousness is very simple. We should be open minded, we should be simple, straightforward, respectful. There is no need to be any other way. Simple, straightforward, respectful. And that's all, right? So something has to be said just very respectfully. It can be told. But I see that there is so much of challenge for devotees have so much false ego. What is the use of doing all this Krishna consciousness if one can't reform their own character? What will they preach to the world? It's very unfortunate. And sometimes what happens that it's all in the name of Krishna consciousness. But we cannot say that in the name of Krishna consciousness I can behave however I want. That's not acceptable either. Hmm. Krishna consciousness means being conscious about Krishna in everything that we do, not just taking up some services for Krishna and in our own behavior we are non Krishna conscious. That's not acceptable. Hmm. So, if we don't reform our character, we can't help others reform their character. So, then the whole idea of preaching goes for a toss. Hmm. I'm very, very clear that at least areas where we are preaching, there should be zero politics. And I encourage devotees to speak up openly about any issues. And I always say, don't take names of devotees. Tell me the issue. Tell me the issue. Okay, if some service is not being done, tell me what the issue is with the service. Don't tell me this devotee did like that devotee did like that. That is not the right mood. The right mood is this service didn't happen properly. Okay, flowers were not good. That is an okay statement to make. Not that this person got bad flowers. That is not required to be heard. Then it's the responsibility of whoever is hearing. He can make the conclusion, right? Okay, who got the flowers? And he can decide what needs to be done. But the people involved, those who are not in position of responsibility, they can play safe. They can safeguard their own devotion by not picking at other devotees. It's such a safe position to be in. I always keep thinking, if at all maybe I should just be in why all this leadership position and all that, just be a ordinary like devotee, take up some service. Somebody will say it's so easy. Just put your head down and do seva nicely. Uh, so being in some leadership positions are not, it's not easy to be a Vaishnava at the same time. Hmm. I was telling devotees saying that see one day that one Panihati festival, right? Getting all the people on time, getting them into the bus, taking attendance, then people will have their own issue. It just brings us down from Sattva-guna to Rajoguna. And I was telling I don't like this. So from next time, I'm not going to be involved in such Rajasic activities. I'm going to give it to other people who are anyway already just naturally, they're still Rajasic, they're still not moved to Sattva-guna because it's a challenge. It's a challenge. We don't want to be in that position. Yesterday, I was also telling some devotees saying that even kirtan, I don't want to be in bang 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 kirtan. If somebody asked me to sing kirtan, then I want only people who can play mridanga slowly, people who can play kartal slowly, and then in the last 5 minutes maybe it will increase take tempo. But till then, it is going to be slow with focus on the nama. Now this is all the result of rajoguna. Excess Rajoguna. I keep saying if I'm singing and some at some pace, then others will be fast when they repeat. Because they can't control, they can't slow down. They can't slow down. So this inability to slow down is a characteristic of Rajoguna. Anyway, so the whole point is that this character reformation should bring us to Sattva Guna and then only we can transcend Sattva. We can't just jump over Sattva Guna. Very, very few extremely fortunate souls can do that. But most of us, our natural progression is give up Rajoguna, Tamoguna, come to Sattva Guna, And then parallelly, because we are doing bhakti, we will start transcending slowly, steady. Mm. They may live very comfortably without denial of any of the body's necessities, but they live under spiritual control, and thus they live happily and save time for advancement in Krishna consciousness. So this is about Prabhupada is talking about those who are living in the center, meaning temple like that. Those who are living like that, who don't have to go out and work for them. They're saying they may live very comfortably. What comfortably means without denial of body's necessities, not like okay, get prasadam to my room, not like that. And they should live under spiritual control, which means that there are authorities. They have to listen to authorities. This independent mindset, is very, very difficult. Um, Yesterday, I was seeing that we were doing Snana Yatra, then so many devotees, everybody seems to have an opinion. Everybody is saying, so one person says go left, another person says go right. Right, and it becomes chaos. I mean, they have to understand, saying that, it has to be communicated also. See, one person who is that orchestrating Snana, the Abhishekam, there should be one person. And that person needs to say, this is the process, and everybody should say yes. Right? And of course, it should be thought through before, etc., etc. But everybody, the person who is giving the, milk for Abhishekam, he is also having direction. Somebody taking the bowl, he is also having some direction to give. Everybody has direction. Everybody has become masters. Everybody thinks their logic is correct, their process is correct, but it's not acceptable. In a spiritual environment, everybody cannot become independent. They will have their opportunity for independence when they are given responsibility of some service. Then they can use their independence to think what is the best way of doing it. But when somebody else is in charge, then we have to just put our head down and follow. Okay, if there is a flaw in the recommended process, etc., then maybe there is some way to communicate. If it's creating immediate chaos, maybe it can be communicated immediately. Otherwise, if there's scope for improvement, it can be communicated later. But this thing about being under spiritual control, some of people don't like it. Mm. We are doing registration in Paniyati, and everything is a realization for us, right? Just showing our devotees, saying that, see, this is not how we have to behave. This is how we should not behave. So there are devotees coming in, and then our service was to stop everybody and ask if they have registered. That's a service given to us. Now we don't see who it is. And of course, our devotees are fortunate because they don't know who is who in our temple, because all this very recently getting connected, etc. And I was happy they were stopping everybody. I said, good. This is how it has to be. Then somebody comes, somebody says, you stop. No, no, I come from this person. I said, don't bother. Whatever their person is, you ask them if they're registered or not. Mm. So, all kind of, somehow we want to show that we are something. What are we? We don't know. But just out of spiritual control, no control. Nobody wants to be under control. But they should live under spiritual control. Only then they can live happily. See, Prabhupada makes these statements which are so clear, but somehow we can't find the connection. We can't find the connection. If one has money, it should not be squandered away on nothing. It should be used to push forward the Krishna consciousness movement so that all of human society will become happy, prosperous, and hopeful of being promoted back home, back to Godhead. So it's a very simple thing. If one has money, Prabhupada writes, makes statements like this: one has money, surplus money should be used in Krishna's service. Yesterday, as somebody was telling me, saying that there's one brahmachari who just became a grihastha, and from day one of his grihastha life, his principle is 50% for Krishna. I said, amazing. This is brahmachari training. So he's got brahmachari trained in brahmachari ashram, so he's become a grihastha. And now he's saying, I'm going to follow instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami. So 50% is going to be given for Krishna. And he's not doing some business, something, he's teaching some Pradanga, some, small services he's doing, which doesn't even get him too much Lakshmi. But he's decided, saying, no, 50% for Krishna. I mean, it was so, I was like really so impressed. I mean, I said like, If at all, all brahmacharis can be trained like this, all grihasthas can be trained like this. This is the ideal of Krishna consciousness. Like we were reading yesterday, oh, no, 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 if I give 50% to Krishna, what will happen to me? Who's going to take care of me? Okay, Krishna says you want to take care of yourself. Okay, up to you. Enjoy. Hmm? If you say, no, no, Krishna, I'm following your instructions of your devotees. Okay, I'm giving 50% to you. Okay, don't worry, I will take care. That's all. It's so simple. But we don't have faith in Krishna. Hmm. Anyway, the Vedic mantra. So there's a Vedic mantra. So the point has been made. Hmm. अतैतत्पूर्णम् अभ्यात्मम् यच्च नेत्यनृतं वचः सर्वं नेत्यनृतं ब्रूयात् स दुष्कीर्तिः श्वसन्नृतः. Therefore, the safe course is to say no. Although it is a falsehood, it protects one completely. So Shukracharya is trying to substantiate to Bali Maharaj. Although it is a falsehood, so he's trying to explain what now that you said you will give, how can you escape? And he is giving path for that. So also it is a falsehood because you gave your word, but now I'm saying just say no. Although it is a falsehood, it protects one completely, draws the compassion of others toward oneself. Oh, I don't have anything. Huh? I don't have anything. I given everything that I can. Falsehood. Huh? It draws compassion of others towards oneself. Oh, poor thing, see, he doesn't have anything. Huh? And it gives one full facility to collect money from others for oneself. This is another nonsense that happens in ISKCON. Somebody in the name of something, just collect money. Anyway, nonetheless, if one always pleads that he has nothing, he is condemned, for he is a dead body while living, or while still breathing, he should be killed. So here, Shukracharya is being very diplomatic. So he's saying it's not that every time you should not keep saying, no, no, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. Then people will condemn you, saying that useless person, he does not saved anything. That is waste body. So no, you should say sometime, whenever it is required, you should say no. Whenever it is critical, you say no. So when something little you are doing, you just give it off. Yeah. Beggars always present themselves as possessing nothing, and this may be very good for them because in this way they're assured of not losing their money and of always drawing the attention and compassion of others for the sake of collection. But this is also condemned. If one purposely continues this professional begging, he's supposed to be dead while breathing, or according to another interpretation, such a man of falsity should be killed while still breathing. The Vedic injunction, Upad is like quoting left, right, and अथैतत् पूर्णम् अध्यात्मम् यन्नेति स यत् सर्वं नेति ब्रूयात् पापिकास्य कीर्तिर्जायते सैनं तत्रैव हन्यात्. So this is all prose, Vedic prose from some Upanishads possibly. If one continuously poses himself as possessing nothing and collects money by begging, he should be killed. So anyway, so all this is, you will keep begging for Krishna all the time. स्त्रीषु नर्म विवाहे च वृत्त्यर्थे प्राणसंकटे गो ब्राह्मणार्थे हिंसायां नानृतं स्याज्जुगुप्सितम्. In flattering a woman to bring her under control, in joking, in a marriage ceremony, in earning one's livelihood, when one's life is in danger, in protecting cows and Brahminical culture, or in protecting a person from an enemy's hand, falsity is never condemned. So in Kannada, there's a saying, right? You can say 1,000 lies to get one person married. So you're saying in flattering a woman to bring her under control, you can lie. In joking, you can lie when you're joking. In marriage ceremony, to make marriage happen, you can lie. Earning one's livelihood, you can lie. When one's life is in danger, you can lie. In protecting cows and Brahminical culture, you can lie. Or in protecting a person from an enemy's hand, you can lie. Anyway, for us, Krishna consciousness means very simple, just be truthful. Satyam, Shamo, Dama, Titiksha. So we should simply be truthful. Actually, even sometimes devotees say, no, 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 I will just say lie for Krishna. So I was hearing one lecture by my Guru Maharaj. So he said, see, you will start lying only for Krishna, then you will start lying for yourself also. So don't get into this habit of lying Unless it's some real emergency like Janmashtami, Ratha Yatra, or something major, Gaur Purnima, and you're getting stuck in office, okay, you're unwell. That's fine. Right? But don't make it a habit saying week on week you're just using Krishna consciousness as a reason to just lie. Because then it'll become a habit. And then that habit slowly enters into all other aspects of your life. So better not better not lie all the time. Hmm. So for us, we don't have to go through all these injunctions, these rules, regulations, and all. We be respectful of everybody. We be humble. We be truthful. Mm. And falsity creates so much of complications. Mm. Sometimes people call it white lie, meaning it's not such a big thing. I just simply little bit manipulated what I had to say. That's all. Like that. Uh, it's all bad only. Just it all contaminates the consciousness because the person who said the white lie knows that he said a white lie. So how does it matter if the other person comes to know or doesn't come to know? We have spoiled our consciousness. Uh, and sometimes it becomes very difficult to be in such an environment where yesterday somebody was telling me saying that Prabhu, I don't know whom to trust. I said, yeah, this is the material world. No, no, Prabhu, not outside, even within ISKCON. I said, yes, this is the material world. So Prabhupada wanted this to be the spiritual world, but still we are still material world only. We have still not transcended our material nature. So unfortunate, but still, yeah, within ISKCON also, it's still there are aspects, parts which are material. There's some which are spiritual also. When you chant Hare Krishna, when we do here Bhagavatam, when we glorify Krishna, when we do Aarti, yes, these are spiritual activities. But when none of these are being done, the dealings that happen remain on the material platform, unfortunately. So with that, that ends the 19th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now comes the climax, the amazing chapter. Chapter 20, verse 1. Sri Shukavacha Baliryevam Grihapati Kulacharyena Bhashitaha Tushnim Bhutva Kshanam Rajan Uvacha Vahito Gurum. Shukadev Goswami said, O King Parikshit, when Bali Maharaj was thus advised by his spiritual master Shukracharya, his family priest, he remained silent for us for some time because he was contemplating. And then, after full deliberation, he replied to his spiritual master as follows. Now, obviously, this is a dangerous example that is being presented here. But we have to see the context. So, what will Bali Maharaj do now? Bali Maharaj will go against his guru. Hmm? It's not an. It's not like it's not being. It's not for setting an example, saying that yeah, you can go against your guru. It is only if the guru has fallen, then the disciple can reject the guru, right? But otherwise, disciple doesn't have any right to overrule what is being told, what has been instructed by the guru. This also sometimes, many times, I've seen familiarity breeds contempt. Um, and sometimes some devotees, especially servants, personal secretaries, etc., they're with such exalted gurus all the time, and then they become too familiar with him. Um, and yeah, so they might just take it for granted, and they'll treat the guru like somebody I'm taking care of, without thinking that he's actually his guru. So one has to be careful. That is not for all of us because we don't have such close association anyway. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that Bali Maharaj remained silent at a critical point. How could he disobey the instruction of Shukracharya, his spiritual master? It is the duty of such a sober personality as Bali Maharaj to abide by the orders of his spiritual master immediately, as his spiritual master had advised. But Bali Maharaj also considered that Shukracharya was no longer to be accepted as a spiritual master, for he had deviated from the duty of a spiritual master. Um, Now, how do we recognize, how do we identify if Guru Guru has deviated? Hmm. Uh, it's very, very difficult. Uh, so, one sure short way is to be very well versed in Shastra. Once, my Guru Maharaj said once in, I think in one of the Vyas Puja. So he said, I am training my disciples to uh, find a mistake if even if I have done it. So he said this, saying that, my disciples should be trained in such a way that even if I do a mistake, they should be able to correct me or even like identify the mistake. Um, how? By reading Shastra. Mm. Mm. The Guru's statements have to be in line with Sadhu and Shastra. It cannot be independent. How can we determine if Guru's statements are independent or not? Unless we have heard from Sadhus and Shastra. For us, Sadhu is Srila Prabhupada. And Shastra is whatever he has given. Mm. So, unless we are well versed, we have read sufficiently Prabhupada's books, we cannot recognize whether somebody is right or wrong. And we are expected to discriminate. Unfortunately, we will have to see, okay, this person is good to associate with, this person is not good to associate with, even though they are all Vaishnavas. The discrimination has to be done. We are expected to do that. Rupa Goswami, we are all Rupanugas, and he is advising us to identify devotees as Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. We can't help it. We have to do it for our own protection of our own spiritual life. And what do we do with those who don't seem to be of high character, high caliber? Respectfully be away from them. Simple, very simple. Respectfully be away from them. That's all. If you see them, very respectfully wish them Hare Krishna, offer obeisances, treat them like Vaishnavas, but don't associate with them. Simple. Hmm. According to Shastra, the duty of the Guru is to take the disciple back home, back to Godhead. If he is unable to do so and instead hinders the disciple in going back to Godhead, he should not be a Guru. Guru na sasyat. Bhagavatam 5:5-18. One should not become a Guru if he cannot enable his disciple to advance in Krishna consciousness. The goal of life is to become a devotee of Lord Krishna so that one may be freed from the bondage of material existence. Now, one more thing. A Guru wants disciples to advance in Krishna consciousness. But what if disciples don't want to advance? Uh, then they should not have taken initiation in the first place. Hmm. They should not have taken initiation. Somebody pushed them to get initiated. And they were not prepared. They might have said no also. But yeah, people push saying, no, 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 take, for whatever reason. And then they take, and then what they do? They go against their Guru. Mm. Mm. And whose responsibility is that if somebody goes against the Guru? Of course, it is Guru's responsibility because he is finally responsible. But then he's also trusting his disciples who are recommending. So then the disciples who recommend also become responsible. Uh, which is why it's a big responsibility. Hmm. Spiritual master helps the disciple attain this stage by developing Krishna consciousness, stage of being freed from bondage of material existence. Now, Shukracharya has advised Bali Maharaj to deny the promise to Vamana Deva. Under the circumstances, therefore, Bali Maharaj thought that there would be no fault if he disobeyed the order of his spiritual master. He deliberated on this point. Should he refuse to accept the advice, or should he independently do everything to please the Supreme Person of Godhead? Uh, it took some time. Therefore, it is said, Tushnim Bhutva Kshanam Rajan Vacha Avahito Gurum. After deliberating on this point, he decided that Lord Vishnu should be pleased in all circumstances, even at the risk of ignoring the Guru's advice to the contrary. So, this is also an easy way to understand. If whatever is we are being instructed, if it is not for the pleasure of Vishnu, if it looks contrary to the contrary, we can directly conclude saying that some wrong instruction is coming. Then we have to become careful. Hmm. Anyone who is supposed to be a guru but who goes against the principle of Vishnu Bhakti cannot be accepted as guru. If one has falsely accepted such a guru, one should reject him. Such a guru is described as follows in Mahabharata. Gurorapi avaliptasya karya karyam ajanatah utpatha pratipannasya parityago vidhiyate. Srila Jiva Goswami has advised that such a useless guru, a family priest acting as guru, should be given up, and that the proper bona fide guru should be accepted. Shatkarmani Pranam Pro Mantra Tantra Visharadaha Vaishnava Guru Nasyat Vaishnava Swapacho Guru. A scholarly Brahmana, expert in all subjects of Vedic knowledge, is unfit to become a spiritual master without being a Vaishnava. But if a person born in a family of a lower caste is a Vaishnava, he can become a spiritual master. Padma Purana. So really the birth is not a consideration, but the character is the consideration. The surrender is a consideration. Who can become a good guru? Who has been a good disciple can become a good guru. Nobody else can become a good guru, because first principle of being a guru is being a disciple. Whenever there is Guru Puja offered to all these great exalted Vaishnavas, they in turn, every sentence, every word being spoken, prayerfully offer it to their Guru. It's not that they're sitting on the, yes, 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 come fall at my feet. That consciousness, so unless one is a perfect disciple, he cannot become a Guru. Anyway, so these things have to be considered. Okay, so I'm stopping here. If anybody has comments, questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, Mataji.
Prabhu, like, it's so amazing, no? Bali Maharaj is a demon. And Sukracharya has given him rebirth, like he's, and yet, and like, I mean, he doesn't come from where he's been praying or knowing the lordships and all that. Yet he understands it's the supreme personality of Godhead, and he rejects his guru also.
Yeah,
A person, and you have Indra, you have Brahma. I mean, they may have seen the Lord so many times face to face. Yet they come down to check onto the Lord. Is he the Lord? They come into. I mean, they are demigods, and they are supposed to be more spiritually advanced than Bali Maharaj. And like it, I mean, this is just Sukruti. I mean, it cannot be your mind. It like, I mean, हम लोग इतना सुनते हैं करते हैं. Even then, like, we don't understand the importance of. And one thing, Prabhu, like what you today, like, I mean, it goes especially for me. Sometimes we throw a weight. And, I mean, though I keep myself very aloof. Sometimes, like yesterday, when you said pani hat, yeah, like I should check onto certain work onto certain areas, especially when it comes to Abhishekam area. Otherwise, I mean, I don't. Thank you, Prabhu. And certain times, it gives you that. It takes you where it needs to. And especially when somebody tells you, when uncle tells me, I don't listen to him. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else? Anything? Okay. Thank you all for joining. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, समेत गौरभक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranams to everybody.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.